anything, I have to do it with a baby in my hands most of the time. Hi there, my name is Stacey Summerow. Welcome. I have a co-pilot with me today. This little baby doesn't like to sleep unless he is in my arms, so here we are. We just will not go down for a nap today, will we? Anyway, I'm so glad you've joined me today. I have something that I want to talk about called The Problem Is Not the Problem. And I'll explain it. It's something that's been buzzing around in my brain for literally years at this point, and I just have never been able to articulate it before, so I'm gonna try it today. So I interviewed many episodes ago a wonderful marriage and family counselor named Melissa Grace Tablata. She was talking about helping to heal the marriages that she sees in her practice, and she said this thing that stuck with me. She said, the problem is never the problem. Let's say a wife and a husband are arguing because the husband sits down after dinner and leaves the wife to do the dishes. Well, the wife is understandably frustrated, and there may also be some reason why the husband is not helping his wife. But the problem isn't that the dishes are getting done by one person. The problem is the rift of trust, the lack of trust that's being created between the two spouses. And that is what really needs to be healed. So that's what Melissa meant when she said that the problem is not the problem. The problem isn't the external thing. The problem is the relationship has been damaged. So we can apply this to our relationship with God as well. So many times when we go to God, and I use myself as an example because this was 100% what I did through my 20s, I would go to God and I would say, what do you want me to do? Just give me the answer. And I was so focused on getting an answer from God that I totally missed the fact that I didn't actually trust Him with my life, that my relationship with Him needed to be healed. And I started putting the answer above my relationship with the Lord. Discernment is first and foremost fundamentally based in a relationship. You cannot separate discernment, God's answer, from God's love. You can't do it. If you separate God's answer from His love in the relationship, it's not an authentic relationship with the Lord. And it's taken me many years to realize that in my life, so hopefully I can just save you some time. So when we're hyper-focused on an answer, sometimes the Lord doesn't give us one because He wants us to actually trust Him. He wants to heal that deeper problem, not just the external problem. So something to ask yourself, just a good gut check, is, do I actually trust the Lord with my life? If He gave me an answer that I didn't want, would I still love Him as much? Or am I basing my relationship on Him giving me the answer that I want? The truth is that His will for us is so much broader, so much deeper, so much wider than we could possibly know. I have a great example of this in the episode that I just released. It's called, I actually can't remember what I called that episode, but it's about me praying to Saint Joseph and Saint Therese and kind of realizing that this dream that I had was bigger than even what I had been praying for at first, and then allowing that dream to evolve and allowing them to be intercessors for me. They pulled some miracles in our life. So you want to go and listen to that episode, possibly if you want after this, that'd be great. What are you asking God for? And is that really the thing that you need? Or do you actually need healing in your relationship with the Lord? I was simultaneously heartbroken and super impressed, like just wowed by this woman who just passed away. I didn't know her personally, but a lot of people in Steubenville, Ohio know her. Her name was Amber Van Vickle. She had 5 children, and 3 of them, I believe, had special needs. I really resonated with her story because I am also a special needs mom, and one of my children and one of her children shared the same condition and a kind of a similar journey. She was young. She died of cancer on February 23rd. And when I read an article that she had written in the National Catholic Register, it brought me to tears, and I want to share that here. 3 heartbreaks finally had me asking, Lord, who are you? What do you want from me? How can I love you in this moment? 3 trials that brought me to my knees where I could finally utter, Lord, not my will, but yours. And what did I find in the surrender? Peace, lightness, freedom. The Lord took the chains. The Lord took the chains of bondage from a love that was built on demands, manipulation, fear, and desperation. Bondage from a love that had become bitter, angry, and oppressive. Bondage from a love that was superficial and unworthy of the name. I found freedom to love Him for who He is. Freedom to love God because He loved me so desperately first. Despite my burdens and my heartbrokenness, because of my crosses, I was finally able to say to God, I love you always, always, always. I've learned to stop asking why and to start asking what. As Father Jacques Philippe says, to have courage to leave some questions unanswered and ask, what does God want from me? Freedom, broken chains, Freedom in knowing that it's not my picture, but God's. Freedom in knowing that God's ways are beyond us, beyond our understanding. Freedom to know that God will do anything to bring us to him, even break our hearts, because the reward is so much greater. There's so much to think about in that passage, so I'll leave that with you today. If you want to subscribe, like, hit the bell, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. If you want to head to my website, stacysummerow.com, and drop me a note, I would absolutely love to hear from you. I'm not good at responding punctually to messages, but I do respond to everybody eventually. So thank you so much for tuning in to Called and Caffeinated today, and I hope I'll see you again in the future. God bless you.